Hi, this is Emma, and welcome to Esoteric Detective. There is a growing movement that believe the footage and pictures taken on the moon by astronauts were faked. The reason it was faked, if it was indeed faked, could be a number of reasons. The main theory, if true, does not disprove we landed on the moon. It just means that for whatever reason, NASA faked the footage and pictures taken by astronauts when they landed on the moon. The thrust of the theory is that all footage and pictures of the moon landings were taken in a film studio under controlled conditions. Now, just to be clear, I am not saying the moon landings were faked. And I am not saying they were not faked. I am just providing what I think are some interesting anomalies in the lunar film and footage. So stay tuned as Esoteric Detective investigates 6 things that might prove the moon landings were shot in a studio. Number 6. The layered crosshairs. In the pictures, in fact many pictures, from NASA's own archive, which they said were shot on the moon, feature the strange anomaly of having the crosshairs behind objects. This could only happen with a false crosshair. Many objects are shown to be in front of the crosshairs, including the American flag in one picture and the lunar rover in another. This, moon hoax theorists say, is proof that the photos have been tampered with, or doctored. To this day, the only explanation being offered is that the crosshairs are sometimes bleached out of the photo, and this is why they appear sometimes behind objects in the foreground. I will leave it up to you, whether you believe that or not. Number 5. Lack of stars. In all photos taken and all footage of the moon landings, there is no images of the stars. Theorists state that the reason behind this is that it would have been too complex to get the stars right in every scene that was staged, so NASA had to do away with the stars completely. To this day this has remained a mystery, even though critics of the moon hoax have stated that it is the light reflected off the moon, and the exposure setting on the cameras the astronauts use, make the stars impossible to see. This is strange though, considering you can take pictures of stars from Earth in much lower quality and still see them. Number 4. Hidden cables. In a number of film scenes of the astronauts moving about on the moon, theorists have pointed out that there is evidence of cables being used. That is, the same cables used to adjust the gravity of the performers. In one such piece of footage, we can see an astronaut jumping about the lunar surface. But if we look carefully, theorists claim you can see what looks like a reflection on a wire. Take a look. Do you see evidence of a wire? Number 3. Lack of impact crater. Theorists have pointed out that if NASA really landed us on the moon, there would be a blast crater underneath the lunar module to mark its landing. But so far, no blast crater has been found in any photos anywhere near the lunar module. The surface of the moon is covered in fine lunar dust, and even this doesn't seem to have been displaced in photographic evidence. There is not only no blast crater, but there is no dust on any of the landing pads of the lunar module. It is like the lunar module was just placed in the location by a crane. Also note the complex flight controls of the lander only a short time prior to landing on the moon. Take a look at how hard it was to control just a few weeks before the moon landings.
Just months before this historic landing, a prototype LEM was flight tested at Ellington Air Force Base. While NASA cameras record the test flight, Neil Armstrong struggles to control the unwieldy craft. Then, at approximately 300 feet, the lander flies wildly out of control. At the last second, Armstrong ejects. And floats to safety. If the lander was so unstable and difficult to fly in the controlled environment of Earth, then how could the LEM land 6 times flawlessly in the alien environment of the Moon?
Number 2. The waving flag. When the first moon landing was shown on live television, viewers could clearly see the American flag waving and fluttering as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin planted it. The obvious problem here is that there's no air in the moon's atmosphere, and therefore no wind to cause the flag to blow. Explanations for this could have been just the movement of the astronauts' hands on the flag. And it is also worth pointing out that in a vacuum, the flag would move differently. It would have more not less motion. But what do you guys think? Number 1. The duplicate backdrop. The 2 photos from the Apollo 15 mission shown clearly here have identical backdrops, despite being officially listed by NASA as having been taken miles apart. One photo even shows the lunar module. But when all photographs were taken, the module had already landed, so how can it possibly be there for one photo and disappear in another? Theorists state that this is the smoking gun proof that NASA simply used the same backdrop when filming different scenes of the moon landing. To this date, NASA's only reply to this anomaly is the moon is much smaller than Earth, so horizons can appear significantly closer to the human eye. A reply that makes no sense whatsoever, even to laymen. What do you guys think? Do you think the footage was hoaxed? Do you think that maybe NASA did go to the moon, but hoaxed the footage maybe? Or are all the anomalies presented easily explainable and NASA never hoaxed the footage or the moon landings? Stay tuned and subscribe to Esoteric Detective to keep up to date with the strange and unusual. And please give a thumbs up if you liked the video. Until next time, keep an eye on the hidden order behind the visible.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.